You think silence is a weakness, you think not speaking up means I've given up. I stayed silent because I was observing, I was calculating, I was preparing. But make no mistake, my silence isn't submission, it's the calm before the storm. Because when the world tried to break me, I didn't scream. I didn't beg for help. I stood still. I let the weight press down. I let it carve scars into my soul. Have you ever felt it? That crushing weight? The kind that makes your chest tight and your mind restless? The kind that whispers, "You're not enough." People talk about pain like it's some passing storm, something you can outrun. But pain doesn't just pass, it buries itself inside you. It makes a home in your bones, wraps itself around your heart like a vice, and no one sees it, no one cares. You walk through life, smiling, pretending like everything's fine. But deep down, you know the truth. You feel it gnawing at you when you're alone at night, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep that never comes. Because pain isn't loud, it's silent. It sits with you when no one else does. It watches, it waits, it whispers. And you bury it, don't you? You drown it in distractions, in fake smiles, and empty conversations. But the thing about silence is, it doesn't mean peace. It means the battle hasn't started yet. I stayed silent when they doubted me, when they walked away, when they looked at me like I was nothing. I let them think they won. But every second of that silence, I was building. I was sharpening. You see, the strongest ones aren't the loudest. They're the ones you don't see coming. The ones who carry their wounds like armor. The ones who don't need validation to keep moving forward. But I get it. You're tired. Tired of fighting battles no one sees. Tired of screaming into the void and getting nothing back. Tired of feeling like the weight of the world is yours alone to carry. Let me ask you something. How much longer are you going to stay silent? How much longer are you going to let them think they know your story? You see, I learned something in my silence. Pain doesn't break you. It reveals you. It shows you who you really are when no one's watching. When the applause is gone. When you're left with nothing but yourself and the fight inside you. So yeah, I stayed silent. But my actions, they're going to be deafening. Pain isn't just a feeling. It's a parasite. It seeps into your veins, wraps around your bones, and whispers lies into your ears. You're weak. You'll never make it. You're alone. And the worst part, you start to believe it. Every failure, every rejection, every time life knocked you down, you carried it. And soon, it became a part of you. You didn't just feel pain, you became pain. It's funny, isn't it? How people tell you to move on, to stay positive, like it's that easy. They don't know what it's like to wake up every day feeling like you're sinking, like the air is getting thinner, and no one even notices you're gasping for breath. They don't understand that pain isn't something you can shake off. It's a weight chained to your soul, pulling you deeper into the abyss. And no matter how much you struggle, it tightens its grip. You start to isolate yourself. Friends become distant, family feels like strangers, and the world, it becomes a battlefield where every step forward feels like a war against yourself. But let me tell you something. Pain is patient. It waits in the shadows, lurking behind every smile, every laugh, every fleeting moment of joy. Because it knows, sooner or later, you'll let your guard down. And when you do, it strikes. It hits you in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts. It reminds you of your mistakes, your regrets, your failures. It shows you the person you used to be, the dreams you once had, and makes you question, was any of it real? And that's when the darkness creeps in, not the kind you see in horror movies. No, this darkness is worse. It's silent, it's slow. It convinces you that you're nothing, that your fight is pointless, that giving up is the only way out. But listen carefully. The darkness may be strong, but it underestimates one thing: you. You see, you've survived every bad day, every betrayal, every moment you thought would break you. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but the truth, it leaves scars. Deep, invisible scars that no one sees. But those scars, they are proof that you made it through, that you endured, that you're still fighting. And that terrifies the darkness. Because no matter how deep it drags you, you still have a choice. You can let it consume you, or you can face it head on. Pain doesn't define you, it tests you. So the question is, how much more are you willing to take before you fight back? There comes a moment when you've been pushed so far, you can't fall any deeper. When you're staring at your reflection and you don't recognize the person looking back. When the pain no longer scares you, it fuels you. That's when everything changes. You realize something powerful. Pain didn't come to destroy you. It came to forge you, to shape you into something sharper, stronger, unbreakable. And that's when you rise. Not because the world handed you a miracle, not because someone saved you, but because you chose to. Because deep inside, you know there's more to you than the suffering you've endured. You've tasted defeat, but you refuse to let it define you. You've been broken, but every shattered piece has made you harder, tougher, smarter. I bleed, I break, but I rise. Say it again, louder. I bleed, I break, but I rise. Every scar tells a story of survival. Every failure whispers a lesson learned. And now, you're done waiting. You're done hoping for someone to see your struggle. You are your own rescue. This is where the warrior inside wakes up. The one who doesn't quit. The one who fights in silence while the world sleeps. The one who keeps going even when there's no applause, no recognition, no reward. Because warriors don't fight for fame. They fight for survival, for redemption, for themselves. And yeah, it's not easy. You'll have days where the weight feels unbearable, where the voices in your head scream louder than the world outside. But remember this: pain is temporary, strength is permanent. You've got to keep moving, even when every part of you screams to stop. You've got to dig deeper, even when exhaustion clouds your mind. You've got to prove to yourself, no one else, that you are more than what tried to break you. Because here's the truth they don't tell you. Life doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. The battles don't stop. You just learn to fight smarter. And the pain, it never truly leaves. But you learn to use it. Use it to push harder, to rise higher, to silence every doubt, every critic, every voice that said you couldn't. They won't see it coming. Your silence was never weakness. It was preparation. And now, your actions will be deafening. Strength isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the silent battles you fight when no one's looking. It's the weight you carry alone, the tears you wipe away in the dark, the scars you hide behind a forced smile. And the hardest part, no one knows, no one sees, no one understands. Being strong often means being lonely. People think strength is about showing up, standing tall and pushing through. But real strength, it's what happens when you're alone, when there's no audience, no encouragement, just you and the fight inside your head. And that's the battle no one talks about. The nights where you're too exhausted to keep going, but you do. The mornings where getting out of bed feels like lifting a mountain, but you do. The moments where your mind screams to give up, but you don't. They call you strong, but they don't see the cost. Strength isolates you. It turns you into your own hero because no one else will fight your battles. It teaches you to depend on no one, to carry burdens that aren't even yours. And eventually, you learn to wear your loneliness like armor. But here's the truth. Armor gets heavy. It slows you down. It wears you out. And sometimes it cracks. You sit in silence, staring at the walls, wondering when it'll end. You tell yourself you're fine, but deep down you know the truth. Strength doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It just means you carry it better than most. You've walked through fire, and you've come out the other side. But the flames left their mark, and some days you wonder if the fight is even worth it. But listen, loneliness doesn't mean weakness. It means you're on a path few dare to walk. Most people break under the weight of struggle, but not you. You take every ounce of pain and turn it into power. You keep going because deep down you know the battle isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about proving it to yourself. Every lonely night, every silent tear, every moment you feel like giving up, It's all part of your story. And your story? It's not over yet. The world doesn't owe you understanding, but you owe yourself the strength to push through, to stand tall, to keep fighting even when you feel invisible. Because one day, they'll see. One day, they'll realize the quiet ones, the ones who stayed silent, who fought alone, are the strongest of them all. And when that day comes, your silence will roar louder than their noise ever could. You've fought the battles, you've carried the weight, you've endured what most couldn't even imagine, and now, it's time to accept something most people never will. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It taught you resilience when the world tried to break you. It showed you who truly stood by your side and who walked away. It forced you to grow, to adapt, to become something more than you ever thought possible. But here's the hard truth. The scars you carry, they're not going anywhere. And that's okay, because scars aren't just reminders of what hurt you. They're proof that you survived. Proof that you're stronger than whatever tried to break you. You see, moving forward doesn't mean forgetting the past. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means embracing it, owning it. Every mistake, every setback, every heartbreak, it all made you who you are. And who you are, that's something to be proud of. But acceptance isn't easy. It's waking up every day and choosing to keep going, even when the memories haunt you. It's looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing strength instead of brokenness. It's understanding that healing isn't about erasing the pain. It's about learning to live with it. And you know what? You're doing it. Day by day, step by step. You're proving to yourself that you're not defined by your past. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You're a warrior of your own making. The world may not see the battles you fight. They may never understand the weight you carry. But that's not your burden to bear. Your job isn't to make them understand. Your job is to keep moving forward, to take every scar, every ounce of pain and turn it into something unstoppable. To show yourself, because that's who matters most, that you are more than what you've been through. Some days will be harder than others. Some wounds will take longer to heal. But none of that matters as long as you keep going. Because here's the truth. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, no matter how broken, no matter how tired, no matter how hopeless you feel. And you've already done that. So now, it's time to take that next step. To move forward, not because it's easy, but because you owe it to yourself. The pain, the struggle, the loneliness, it's all part of the journey. But it's not the end. Your story is far from over. And the next chapter, it's yours to write. They doubted you. They laughed when you fell. They whispered behind your back, thinking you'd never rise again. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still fighting. Because pain didn't break you. It built you. You stayed silent while the world overlooked you, but your actions will scream louder than their words ever could. Let them think you're weak. Let them think you're done. Because when you strike, it won't just be a comeback, it will be a reckoning. You see, strength isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't seek validation. Real strength is silent. It's in the nights you cried but didn't quit. It's in the moments you doubted yourself but kept moving forward. It's in the fire that burns inside you, even when the world tries to put it out. And now, it's your time. No more waiting. No more seeking approval. The world doesn't need to understand your journey, because this battle, it's yours. You've walked through darkness and came out carrying light. You've endured storms and learned how to dance in the rain. You've been underestimated, and that is your greatest weapon. Because warriors aren't born, they're made. In silence, in struggle, in the moments no one sees. So what's next? You fight. You push harder. You refuse to settle for anything less than what you deserve. And when the world looks back, they won't see the same person they ignored. They'll see the warrior who turned silence into strength. The fighter who rose from the ashes without a sound until it was too late. This isn't the end of your story. This is the beginning of your legacy. The only question left is, are you ready? Because now is your time to move, to act, to break every limit they set for you. If I can endure, so can you. Fight. Because warriors never quit.